You're listening to the Outdoor Drive Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. It's episode 164. This is your boy East Coast Trev, and I'm joined by the Madman Martic.
What's up, all you cool cats and kittens?
Cool cats and kittens? Where did you get that from, bro?
Carol F. and Baskins.
Oh.
She's a straight killer, bro.
She is a killer. Nothing gets better than that, right?
I'm thinking about getting her for Tales for the Tailgate on how she killed her husband.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to her.
Should you?
Yeah.
Just Isn't she in prison?
No, that's the other weirdo.
Oh, Joe
Exotic.
Oh, Joe Dirt. Oh man, sorry. That's about how this podcast is probably going to end up.
Oh yeah, train wreck coming.
Train wreck coming.
I can hear the train coming now.
Why don't you pick up your microphone so we can actually hear you?
I'm a new guy.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's probably better, but now you got to lean over to use it.
I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah.
You going to be okay?
Yeah.
Are you positive? All right, I hope so. Well, let's break in the sponsors. Let's thank those guys so we can get this thing underway. What do you think, buddy?
Do it up.
All right. First off, Huntworth Gear, huntworthgear.com. Get more for less with Huntworth. If you guys haven't checked them out, you probably should because you're missing out on some of the best gear in the world. What do you think about it?
I'm blown away. I honestly am. My course of camo throughout my life is I've ran everything from Walmart camo to jeans and a t-shirt. I've ran everything. And I got Huntworth now, and I feel like a pro.
It's insane.
It's next level.
It's like that. I don't even know how to explain it.
The hoodie, I wore the lightweight hoodie the other day with the built-in face mask. I felt like a ninja.
A straight
ninja.
A
little camo ninja.
A camo
ninja. And I don't even like wearing face masks, ever. And it's right there, so it's you kind of just this is cool.
You just wear it.
You just wear it. Yeah, I wish they had it during COVID. If I had a Huntworth jacket during COVID, I would not have a problem wearing a mask at the grocery store.
It's probably illegal to wear something like that.
They don't care.
They're probably like, "What are you wearing, bro?"
Tissue paper over your mouth. They wouldn't have said nothing.
Exactly. Oh, glad that's all over. Nor'easter Game Calls, nor'eastergamecalls.com. If you haven't gone over to Nor'easter, you're probably going to miss out on everything that's going on over there. Tons of grunt tubes, Sika calls, turkey calls, coyote calls, you name it, he makes it. Duck calls. The duck calls are off the chain right now. Duck season is here. Guys, go and check them out, nor'eastergamecalls.com. Make Mark get to work. Zeus Broadheads, newerarchery.com. If you're not shooting Zeus, you're probably missing out once again. Cut the Zeus loose. The new Hera is on the market. You guys can go and check that out. 2-blade. What a badass head. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I wouldn't know because I keep missing everything. But Vital Ground Outdoors, vitalgroundoutdoors.com. Mr. Matt, how do you say his last name? I'll let you.
Katoya.
He almost missed it. Oh, you almost missed it. Matt Katoya. Matt Chachia doing his thing over there. The store should be back and reopened here very shortly. So if you guys haven't already, go and check him out. A ton of really good stuff. The click and sticks, aiders, rope mods, you name it. He's got it all. So go and check him out over there and get your stuff while you can. I'm actually waiting in the mail because I forgot my gear hanger in Maryland. So he had to make me a new one.
Forgot something?
Yep, so he had to make me a new one. But, hey, if that's the only thing I forgot, I'll take it for what it is.
You remembered your bow, at least.
Yeah, well,
that's good.
How do you forget? I mean, I get...
You have done it before.
Yeah, well, I had a hunting dudes the other day. That was pretty good.
That's true.
That was pretty good.
How was that?
It wasn't that bad, dude. It was actually pretty comfortable.
I've been wanting to do it, but I haven't done it
But
yet.
I think that, the ascending and descending out of the tree with the sticks that we all use, it's pretty brutal on the feet, and them not having that much padding or
they're so you know what I love the Hey Dudes for is when I go glassing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not just road glassing. Sometimes I have to walk down a farm road or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the dudes are great because they got that soft bottom and they're a little softer walking on the gravel, and it doesn't pop as much when you sneak in back there to check the field or something. They
are super quiet. And that, especially when I was walking up with you, I'm like, oh wow, dude, this is so easy.
Little Indian moccasins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the guy. There's a company I had seen actually in Iowa, and they have slip-on felt shoes that go over the top of your shoes to quiet it down, so that when you walk in there, I guess it's Whatever they say is good, I guess. I don't know. Never tried nothing like that.
No.
You see some of these guys walk barefoot.
Yeah, or they kick their boots off and finish the stock in their socks.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. Step on a pricker.
I couldn't imagine.
Uh-uh.
I could not imagine at all. This week has been horrible, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like I mean, well, it wasn't horrible, okay, but it wasn't good.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride for last. What has it been? A little over a week.
Yeah, something like that. I don't even know where to even honestly begin. It's so obviously, well, or maybe not obviously. I say it
Actually,
like
you know what
everyone
though?
should know,
Hold on, before we dive, this is gonna get crazy here. So let's not get carried away. I got a pile of shout outs to do.
Oh
quick.
yeah, we could do the killer's corner.
Yeah, and thanks. You guys really stepped it up this week. Like, I'm seeing a ton of stuff on the Facebook group page, which is awesome, and it's a mixed bag of tricks of all different stuff. So, but first of all, the first shout out is for Trev.
Oh
The
yeah.
Outdoor Drive podcast. Congratulations for hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
It's a big accomplishment. So if you're not subscribing and you're listening to this, make sure you get over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Lots of good content coming out soon. I got shout out for Mr. Mark Buzzle from Nor'easter Game Calls. Did you see the pile of pheasants he killed?
I did see the pile.
Like,
He
the
does it like every
tailgate
week.
is just loaded.
He does it every week.
Is he making a pheasant call now? Is that what he's doing?
I don't know. Probably
He's calling them in?
He probably should.
Our boy Devin over at Wild Prairie Gun Dogs, who's actually Trev's dog Ruby came from Devin, and my dog Rip came from Devin as well. And he's just, I don't even know what he's killing. They're just stuff that flies.
Martic doesn't even know.
No, he's just killing the geese,
Snow
ducks,
geese,
snow geese, all
Canadian
kinds of stuff.
geese, ducks. Yeah,
He's crushing it.
Pintails,
Let's check him out
wilds.
at Wild Prairie Gun Dogs. Let's see here. We got Scott File.
Yeah,
He
Scott
killed
File.
a beautiful black bear back in early September. He was just,
With me up at Bear Camp.
yeah, you were
actually.
there, but he didn't post it earlier, so he got around to posting that on the page. That was awesome. Another one Trev got to see with his own eyes. Guy Edgar
Yep.
shot a freaking giant.
Yeah. So for you guys that don't know, like what that equates to, that's probably 180 plus inch.
Is it Sika or Sika?
So it depends how you say it.
How do I say it?
Either or.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
I like
It's
Sika.
Sika.
I like Sika because it doesn't
Sika.
sound like that other company.
So Sika, yeah, Sika is what I guess.
Sika.
I don't know. People say Sika.
I don't know.
Sika.
Whatever.
Sika,
Whatever it was,
Sika,
was freaking just
Yeah, it was a
absolute giant.
It was a great 8-point, absolutely beautiful, giant.
And he had shot that the night you rolled into town, no?
Yeah, right before we
Like
had
you went
gotten
straight
into.
there and saw it.
So I was about 2.5 hours out, and he had shot it. By the time we had gotten into town, we rolled over to his house, took some professional pictures for him and stuff because he had never had anything done like that. And him shooting, that was the biggest one. He shoots his 3 stags every single year, but nothing of that. I mean, he shot some very nice stags. Don't get me wrong, but nothing in that caliber. But like I said, it probably equates to about 180 inch deer.
I'm gonna probably regret doing this, but I need help with pronunciation of a last name.
What's that?
Ted, he shot that giant sheep.
Zingler?
No, hub.
Oh, Ted. Why are you asking me
I don't
this?
know. I knew I was gonna regret that, but
Hubbiel.
okay.
Hubbiel.
Whatever. You can
Ted
you can
Hubbiel.
butch it up. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna.
whatever.
So I don't.
I'm bad with that stuff.
Another giant sheep in Montana.
Yeah, you guys will be hearing that story. Ted had reached out to us originally because we had put a post up on the group and had asked him, or I had asked, what was everybody's plan for the season, and he said he was going after this goat, and he got it. I mean, this is a very mature animal, very big, probably the same equates to a 200-inch whitetail for you
Right.
guys that don't know.
And then I got 2 last but certainly not least. One is Caleb Keckler, who
Chris Keckler's son.
We got a chance to meet Caleb at Huntstock and just talk about a kid that just ate up with the outdoors. Like, I mean, he was all over the place he lived there all weekend, and he was always stopping by the booth, and he just loves it. So Caleb shot his very first deer ever on October 1st, which was Massachusetts Youth Day.
Yep.
So huge congratulations to Caleb. That's awesome for your first deer. And then, like I said, last but certainly not least, Michael Joseph and his son Frankie Frankie's 9 years old. The dad, Michael, he shot a very nice buck, and I can't even come up with the words to describe this, so I'm just going to read what Michael had to say.
Hold on a second. We got to fix your mic because you talk into that thing right here. There you go.
All right, we're back.
Jeez Louise.
All right, so this is what Michael Joseph had to say. My son has been at my side for the past 2 years. I don't do anything in the woods without him, from hanging stands, food plotting, and lane clearing. While I shot this guy, it's our team effort that made it happen. So I had reached out to Michael and gave him congratulations and, asked him what his son's name was and how old he was. And the reply back I got was just as good. He said, "Hey, brother, listen to you guys all the time. Sure, my son just turned 9 3 days after I shot that guy. His name is Frankie. The kid legit has calluses on his hands 365 days a year from working on our horse farm and helping with hunting stuff. He may just grow up to be more obsessed than me." So huge congrats. I mean, that's
huge.
It gives me chills
in this,
actually.
In this day and age, that's huge, man.
Frankie, I know your dad's gonna probably play this for you. I'll tell you what, you're 9 years old. Give it about another 9 years, and you'll probably be teaching your dad a thing or two.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all those guys.
Congratulations to everybody.
And thanks for posting up. And to everybody else, just keep sharing your successful hunts on there.
Yeah, so we'll shout you out every single week. We got the Killer's Corner now, so you guys can put your stuff up on the group page, and we'll shout you out here. And Martic had actually forgotten about one of it, but we're actually going to send out T-shirts to Frankie and to Caleb on their success for, they're going to get a little gift package here from the Outdoor Drive podcast. So congratulations to you guys. So
the youth ones, man, those ones get me.
I mean, that's what kind of keeps us going. I mean, the youth is an important thing, and I remember being that kid. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago. You know what I'm saying? And being that kid that drove, my parents crazy because I wanted to go fishing or hunting all the time, and my dad would always give me a hard time. I remember him saying it like, "You can't make a living hunting or fishing. You got to get a real job." Well, I mean, he's not wrong.
No.
If you want to struggle, you want to be a successful outdoorsman, you start as a billionaire and you end as a millionaire.
Right.
It's about the only way that you'll be successful in this business, but it's all good. But
damn fun time doing it, though.
Yeah, screw it. You know what I'm saying? But it's nice to watch the kids because there's not a lot of kids out there doing what we did as kids, So to hear these success stories like that, it's actually really cool. It's definitely
I mean, just look at the list. You got, I know we already went over it, but, you got Guy with that giant Sika, Ted with his giant sheep, and then you got Caleb with his first whitetail ever. Like, it's all the same to me. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's the same trophy.
It is the same trophy for sure. I mean, it's just like shooting a 180-inch whitetail, in my opinion.
Right.
He'll never forget that. We had somebody in camp. So the guide, Eric, up at camp, his son Landon had shot his first bear after I had left, and he's only 8 years old,
right,
and shot his first bear. And I mean, that's a lifestyle, especially up there, as you guys all know. Like that's a life. Like that's what you do. So, and to make it even more special, there was actually a lady that was friends with his mother. They never met in person, but always online, and she actually made a picture, like a canvas picture, one of those, and sent it to Landon so he could have it of his first bear.
That's awesome.
So that you remember those memories, man. You got to make it special for the youth so that they can keep going on. But so, yeah. So this, should we just break into this week because it's gonna be a bit. And sorry guys, we don't have a guest tonight. It's just the two of us. So I don't know if you guys like that, love it, hate it. I don't really care.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I don't care.
This is what you get.
This is what you get. You get what you get, man. You the admission's free. You can come and go as you want. No, right? No, so I'll tell you, I blown away, right? Because it's been one of those hunts that I've always wanted to do. You guys have all heard me talk about it, how I wanted to go Sika hunting. My old business partner, douchebag himself, got to go on a Sika hunt, and I didn't get to go. And those guys were successful, and I was like,
I forgot about that.
I was like, I want to go Sika hunting, dude. Like, I want to go do that. Like, just totally addicted. Was gonna try and do it myself. I had no idea what I was doing. And then I was going to go another year. Plans fell through, didn't work out. So I finally got able to go this year. So 4 years in the making. Finally get to go. I got to go down with Sean Russell, our good buddy, snake catcher Sean.
Snakehead Sean, ain't it?
Yeah, snake catcher Sean. Snakehead catcher.
Snakehead.
No, it's snake catching Sean. Catcher Sean. Whatever.
You're the name expert.
Yeah. So, anyways, what does it matter? I just rename them. They get their own nicknames that way. It's a lot easier. He invited me down after he had come up moose shed hunting with me and turkey hunting and stuff. I was like, dude, I want to go Sika hunting. He's like, come on down, man. And we talked about it in the spring. So I got to go down there with him. We finally get down. It's a little bit slower. The first day was a little bit colder. I think it was like 41 degrees, 42 degrees when I had woken up. And we had snuck into a piece of public Sean had scouted prior. And Sean had been down there for a little bit, maybe 2 weeks or whatever. He'd been hunting down there with some friends and stuff on some private land trying to kill a stag. He's after a mature stag and this, that, and the other thing. So we dive up into this public piece, dude. We both get set up in a tree. And from the second we got into the tree, it was just absolute havoc. Like there was, like Sean's walking in and not really had been there in a bit, and it was dark. And you could tell kind of like on his face, he's like, dude, this is going to suck. Like, I didn't really like plan on where to go. I didn't know what. We're looking on maps. We're like, oh, dude, we're close to private. Like, I don't know if this is going to work, if we're supposed to be here, whatever. And Sean's like, we just need to get in a tree and hunt and just have an observation. So I start to go up the tree, and we can hear Sikas around us.
Describe it, though. Like, describe what kind of shit you went through to get to this tree.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if people completely understand.
Everybody wants to go Sika hunting, right? Like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I want to go Sika hunting. I want to go Sika hunting. Don't bother. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, the physical endurance that it takes to do this is something that I've never been part of in my life. Like, I've definitely, a mile back on public or whatever. Like, I'm a bigger dude, and I have no problem hiking that. When we're up north, we do 20 miles. This was probably half to 3/4 of a mile, and it felt like 75.
Why?
So when you first break out of the parking lot, right, you're on hard ground, okay? And you start going through, there's like a little bit of woods, but it's like pines, and it has like little tiny like culverts in it, right? And it's full of water, like trenches full of water. So you're just going through, it's like ankle deep, pines kind of thick, and these like pine plantations. Then you get out of there, and it turns into swamp. Like some of the gnarliest whitetail swamp you've ever been in, that you like, that stuff that you don't go into. And like all this like shrub undergrowth, like what I would call like saplings, like small little saplings, and like alder saplings for us in the north. And it's like mad intertwined, and you're trying to walk through it with all of your gear on your back. And like us mobile hunters, I have my camera, I have my sticks, my stand, my saddle's in there, got a sweatshirt in there. So like I got a pretty heavy pack, and I'm trying to get through all this stuff, and I'm sweating.
In the dark too, no?
Sweating, yeah, and it's dark out. And mind you,
I've never been snakes.
There. Oh, I love snakes. but at that point in time, I wasn't thinking about snakes. And the reason I wasn't thinking about snakes, I'm like, oh, it's cold. So like you don't have to worry about snakes, right? So we end up getting to the tree. I start to go up the tree. Now, mind you, when you're trying to find a tree down there, every tree's dead. So you have to be very careful. Like you try and look up and see if there's any like live pine needles on the tree, because a lot of the trees are dead. When you try and kick the bottom of the tree or whatever to make sure that there's, actual, live tree.
And you're double hanging.
We're double hanging
right.
in this, and the trees aren't that big. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe
telephone pole, maybe a little bit bigger.
No, a little bit smaller. Yeah. They're not very big. So I end up going up, and then Sean came up, and we're set up in there, and we can hear Sika around us. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is sick. Like, this is nuts. They start bugling, dude. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. It's pitch black. I'm like, dude, I said, we're in it. Like, they're right around us. So the sun starts to come up, dude. They're still bugling like crazy. They're chasing all around us, dude. We're like in the money, dude. I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen. I probably picked up my bow off the bow hanger probably 6 times. Literally in that morning sit. Probably so from sunup was like 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock you can probably shoot 6:30. I don't exactly remember. And then we hunted till about noontime. And literally the whole entire time that it kind of died down about 10:30. And there wasn't much action, but we seen two Sika small stags chasing off a hind, way off about 120 yards, and like there was like one opening, and you can hear them smashing around. Sean's calling at them, they're bugling, mewing, moaning, like dude, it was nuts. Like the noises that you hear is just incredible, dude. The sunrises are just one to remember. Like I see a lot of sunrises on the water, and this was probably some of the best sunrises I've ever seen. And so we ended up hunting until about 10:30, 11. We got down. We didn't hunt the afternoon because it was going to be like 75 or 80 degrees. So we didn't hunt the afternoon. The next day.
We went fishing.
Well, we went fishing. Did we
caught
go
some
fishing?
fish?
Yeah, we got some rock bass,
yeah.
some rockfish, striped bass, striped trash.
Yeah, went all the way to Maryland to catch some
striped
stripers.
trash. Yeah, tiny ass ones too. And the guys, I mean, they catch big ones down there too. But like to catch it was cool, dude. It was badass. I mean, it was, yes, but I drive 7 hours to catch the same thing I could catch here, which they have a ton of like crazy fish. And that's the one thing about the Eastern Shore is like, there's always something to do there. Like it's when I say it's like the Amazon, dude, it's like the Amazon. There's just fish. There's wildlife. You could scout. You can do, I mean, there's a million and one things to do there, man. I love the Eastern Shore. It's like God's country. There's a little bit of everything to do there the whole time. So we didn't hunt that afternoon. We hunted the next morning, and it wasn't. The next morning was actually a worse walk-in. So we were actually 100 yards to the east, like northeast of like where we had set up originally, but we came in from a waterway. So you walk in this waterway, and it's like knee-deep water with like milfoil, like real thick weeds in the bottom of it, and then blown down trees and stumps and stuff. So it was even worse. And so you walk on this like through the woods. You get onto this like
what are you wearing? You're wearing hip
knee
boots
highs,
or?
yeah, knee highs, yeah, hip boots. And then you jump into the swamp, and then you go out maybe like 1,000 yards in the swamp. And so we get into that spot. Same thing. I mean, and not as much rut action as the day before, but still a decent amount. And we had Sika all around us, dude. Like, it was crazy. And at that time, I probably took the bow off the bow hanger like 3 times, right? And then all of this, the first day and the second day, we had deer within 30 yards of us.
Some of these times, though, you're taking the bow off the bow hanger because you know there's one within 30 yards, but you might not even lay eyes on it.
No, well, that's the other thing is you don't. Like, you might see just the tail end of it, and it doesn't do what it needs to do. It doesn't come into that opening. And so about 9:30 the second day, we had one coming in, a hind and a small stag. They were coming down right in front of us, and there was something that they didn't like we moved too much or whatever the case may be. And I mean, you have to mind you is that like there's no back cover, so there's like 2 of us in a big tree. So like, I mean, it's inevitable. Like these things happen, you know. It's just hunting. So the hind starts to go the other direction, and the small stag chases it. Now, mind you, when I say that I see this, it's just like bits and pieces in between the bushes and the shrubs and the down trees and everything. So you're only seeing like little bits and pieces. So we see the small hind. This small hind chases off. This hind chases the small stag chases off this hind, and you see him going up. So Sean then growls at it, and he growls at it, and the thing turns around and starts coming back. So he calls at it a little bit more, this, that, and the other thing. The thing's like 25 yards, and you can't see it. I can just see it coming through. There's one big bush, and if he comes out around his side of it, he's going to be at like 22 yards. There's a wide open thing on either side of the bush, and he just stayed at that 25 yards right behind that big bush and just literally just stayed there, and then wouldn't come out, wouldn't clear because he didn't see anything that he wanted, and he just turned around and he walked away. And I was like, oh my God, there's my shot opportunity. So 2 days, and it's just full-fledged just off the hook, man. Just constantly taking the bow off the hanger. Like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Day 3, we decide that we're going to split up, right? And Sean wanted to go and try somewhere else. And I'm like, dude, I'm not. Like, we're in the deer. Like, why would we move and not, you know what I'm saying?
Leave
like,
deer to find deer.
Was it?
Why would you leave deer to find?
Yeah, so for 2 days, I mean, it's getting warmer and the rut activity is kind of like declining, but still we're around deer, man. And I'm not there to shoot a monster. I'm not there to shoot a stag. I'm just there to shoot a Sika deer, man. I don't really care what it is. And so I go back to the same spot the next day. Sean hunted away from me. And this is where I realized, and one of the most important things of this whole entire thing, if you can take one thing away from it, is that calling is probably the number one most important thing in this. Because I hunted without Sean, and Sean calls, and a very good caller at that, very aggressive caller, and very good. I hunted without him, and there was no deer within range. And it was crazy because I was like almost helpless in the tree, right? Because like you can hear them, they're kind of around you, but like they're not closing that gap, that 60, 80 yard gap, and you're not able to do it. And it's not that I didn't have a call. So I had a call. I had my Nor'easter Sika call, but the problem with that is that there was not a lot of wind and a lot of background noise, I guess you could say. And the one that Mark had made for these boys was very loud. And we didn't realize it, but like if you rip that thing when it's loud, like when it's dead silent like that, it's just way too loud. Like way too loud. Because they're very quiet animals to begin with.
Right. And I would imagine being up over that swamp, it just carries. There's nothing to muffle it or like it just cuts right across the water.
Oh, dude, it's loud as hell. And it just like echoes. And like these things are like really quiet, man. Like they're just like super, like other than the bugles. Like the bugles are loud, right? But like the mews are just meow, meow, meow. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not loud. Like the mews are very quiet. So like if I was to use that call, like it was way too loud. So I was like, well, I can't use that call. Like I tried once and I'm like, whoa, no, way too much. So Sean had hunted. He had deer around him early morning, but then nothing after that. He had sat on the ground. He kind of broke out early. I hunted for most of the morning till about 11 o'clock. I got gotten down and went back, but really had realized how important it is to call. So after that, every morning we'd go to this place for breakfast, and all the locals and guys that were hunting, they'd all go there for breakfast. So like we'd end up there for 3-4 hours, and I got to see some dudes that I was friends with on Facebook and stuff like that. John Fuss, his buddy Richard. There's a bunch of dudes, and got to hang out with those guys. A bunch of local old timers too that are big Sika hunters and stuff. So I learned a ton. Sean's really good buddy. He actually had an extra call in his truck, so he gave it. He let me borrow it so I could use it or have it. And then later that day, he was like, hey, man, like I gave you this call, but I have another call that you can use just to mew on. It's a little bit quieter, a little bit easier to use, so you didn't have to worry. Because open read calls are really hard to use. Like you can't just pick them up. And I'm pretty knowledgeable in calling and using different calls and very good with different calls. But I couldn't get it down. So he ended up giving me a different one that was a lot easier, so I could hunt the next day by myself. And so we kept doing that. We split up. Sean was trying to kill his mature stag, so he would go and do his thing, and I'd do my thing and whatever else. And so we ended up moving spots. We hunted a different spot the night that next night, and I didn't see anything. And Sean had called in 7. Just like a small stag and 6 hinds or something. Passed them. Really couldn't get a shot on them. I didn't see anything that night. The next day, we ended up breaking off, and we went into another spot, and I had sat by myself and still was calling and this, that, and the other thing. I didn't see anything, so I had 2 sits. I didn't see anything. Sean had seen a small spike, and so I was like, you know what? Screw it. I said, I got 1 more day left. I says, I'm going to go in there. And Sean's like, well, why would you go in there? All there is that spike. And I said, yeah, man, but the thing is that I don't really care. Like, it doesn't affect me. Like, I want to go in there because I want to hunt there because I just want to shoot one. Mm-hmm. If that spike's in there and there's deer in there, right? Same thing. If there's deer in there, we're on the deer. Let's go hunt the deer, you know? So I snuck up into that spot, and I get all set up, and, dude, daybreak comes, and I hit the call, and 2 come running right at me. Same thing, dude. 25 yards in the frag. So I'm on the edge of the frag. There's a peninsula that comes out. There's a waterway behind me, and then frag wraps around on 3 sides, and then there's like a marsh thing on the, you know, what would be like my west side. And they're all inside there, bro. And I could just hear them running around at daybreak. And so I'm calling, and they'd come in, but then they wouldn't commit. Like, they wouldn't come out of the frag onto the solid ground. So I wasn't like getting irritated. I was like, oh, dude, this is freaking sweet, dude. I'm all around them. So about 8:30, 9 o'clock, about 8:30, I hit the call because I had heard one walking. And you could hear him. It's like really this thing. You just like, and they're walking in the water, you know. So so I call this thing out, and I can see, it's starting to come. It's in the frag. It's on my offside, and it like just kind of a screwed up shot, and he's coming out in the frag, and I can see him. I saw he had antlers, and he's in the frag, but I was really nervous that, you know, that he's not going to come onto the hard ground. So there was an opening, decent opening, and he had come into the opening, and he had stopped. So it's 16 yards, and I'm like, all right, there's the front shoulder, put it right on him, pull the trigger, whap. And I'm like, oh, shit. He pile drives up through the frag and goes like maybe 20 yards, bro.
If that, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God. I just smoked one. I smoked a Sika. There's no way. I smoked one. And I'm thinking he's dead in the frag. So I wait like 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, all right, let me get down. You know, let me go see. Let me go look at my arrow. So I get down. All this time, I'm talking to the camera. Go to get out of my tree, get down on the ground. I get over to the frag, and this thing bounds off and starts running. And I'm like, what the freak just happened? I'm thinking I 12-ring this thing, dead, over. And there had been a couple more up in the frag. They had ran off when they had heard all the ruckus and all the noise. And so I get over there, and I freaking missed, dude. No blood, no nothing. Arrow sticking out, fletchings, no blood, no nothing. That Sika goes running off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't believe I just missed. Like, all this time, all this effort, and I just missed. Like, you got to be kidding me, dude. So I sat there until about 11 o'clock. And I was like, all right, nothing. No noise, no bugling, no nothing. I'm like, this sucks. And at this point, I'm kind of like down on myself, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do? It's my second to last day. I'm probably going to end up leaving tomorrow, Saturday. I was going to hunt Saturday and come home on Sunday. So I get down. It's about noon. I get back to the truck. That's when I had called you, talked to you. I cooked up some pork chops on the tailgate. And then we had kind of talked about kind of like some type of plan. I was like, you know what? Probably going to go deeper. There, I heard some bugling up on this peninsula. I'm going to set up in that peninsula, and I'll hunt the rest of the day. So about 2:30, I meander my way in there. It's about a mile and a half. All hard top. All, you know, hard ground. So I get up there. I get all set up, dude. A couple of bugles around me midday. I mew at them. Nothing comes of it. No big deal. Sitting there. Dude, it's about 4 o'clock. And I could hear on the private land, like, people, like, hanging shit and walking through the marsh and making noise and this, that, and the other thing. Because, like, the public comes up and then the private's maybe, like, 100 yards away from it, right? And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Well, tomorrow, Saturday, is opening day of duck season. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. These guys are coming in and hanging a blind, like, This is ridiculous, dude. And at this point, I'm kind of irritated because I had missed. I had the opportunity, been in deer the whole time. Finally get the opportunity. I missed. I'm on the negative side, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm done with this, dude. I said, I'm getting down. I'm going to kind of like see if I can find some sign. It's still kind of early, so I can get up in a tree maybe 2 hours, you know?
Hey, describe the sign. What are you looking? What's Sika's sign?
So Sika sign is you're looking for is, you know, you're looking in that frag and you're looking for trails that come out, heavy use trails where they're going to come out of the frag. What happens is they bed in the frag during the day and then they come out onto the dry land to feed and meander around on the dry land during the night. Also, during the rut, the hinds don't like to get chased around in the water. So they'll go up onto the hard ground.
That makes sense because I saw the look on your face after walking around in the water all day.
Yeah, dude, it's miserable. They don't like getting chased around in the water, so they get up on the high ground, and then the stags chase them around up there. But the same thing, man, you're looking for rubs and wallows,
Now,
which is...
are the rubs, can you tell the difference between a whitetail rub and a Sika rub?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Smaller?
Well, the areas where we are, there's not whitetails.
Right, but I'm saying I know what a whitetail rub looks like.
It's the same.
So they look the same. Same.
It's a rub.
Yeah,
a rub is a
maybe
rub.
A little lower.
It's way lower.
Yeah.
Way lower. Obviously a little bit smaller of a tree.
Right.
But you're looking for the same thing. Just
Yeah.
you're looking down a little bit lower. And then wallows. Wallows is like looking for a scrape, but no scrape tree.
No licking branch.
No licking branch.
And how big are the tracks? Is it like a fawn?
So like, dude, like a little tiny one is literally like maybe 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. So you like they're tiny little tiny tracks.
That's a big.
No,
Sika?
that's a baby.
What's like a mature like a nice
like
track?
2 fingers.
Like a fawn.
Like a
track.
fawn is a big
Sika.
stag. When you see the little tiny ones, dude, you could probably take the size of a like a $50 is like a big stag.
Yeah. And the little one's like a quarter.
Like a quarter.
That's awesome.
Bro, it's tiny. It's like this little tiny thing, and you're like, holy crap. And there's been most of the times that we would walk into public on mud, and then you come out, and then there'd be Sika tracks on your thing.
Because they're really curious, right?
Super curious animals, bro. And like I was telling you, I mean, like we were talking about strategies throughout the whole entire thing. Everything that you know about hunting and whitetails, just throw it out the window. Like scent control, forget it. I mean, if they're close to you and the scent comes on to them, you know, like if they get in your scent trail, then obviously they're going to be a little weary or whatever. And the mature stags will come up, will work the wind a lot of times. But for the majority of it, like they don't care about scent, noise. They're very curious. So like you're constantly calling. A lot of people take ropes with like heavy things on them and plunge them in the water to make that noise as they're walking around, like, especially when we're hunting in the water. When you're on hard ground, no. But very curious animals. Very curious. It's totally different, man, and how you hunt them and what you do, and like they bed in, you know, like the big like where like a tree would be. If there's any type of dry ground inside the frag, they'll bed on that. It's just nuts, dude. It's totally different.
What do they eat?
It's fun. They eat the frag. They eat pin oaks. They eat, you know, stuff, you know, on the, you know, little tiny, you know, vegetation on the hard ground.
So, okay. So during the day, they're in the marsh, bedded, eating frag. And then in the evening, they come up onto the hard for acorns. Acorns.
I mean, anything you could, you know, like, I don't know the whole vegetation that they would eat, but they eat a lot of corn down there. I know that. Because everybody feeds them.
Bait on private.
Yeah, the
not
stags
supposed to be on public.
Yeah, the stags don't really care for the corn. They just go to the corn because they know that the hinds are there, right? I mean, same as a whitetail. One thing they die for too is alfalfa. And they love alfalfa, I guess. So it was just fun, man. I had missed or whatever, but I tell you this, going back on it, and we were talking about snakes. So I had gotten out of the tree and was working for
This is the real
sign.
reason why you came home.
Yeah. Well, no. All right, so I was already frustrated, right? Obviously. So I'm like mad because I had missed. These guys come in, making all kinds of noise and stuff, which is, you know, would have been good, like just pushing them over, but like,
yeah, but
I don't know.
When
but you're just
something
frustrated.
bad happens, it's just like every
It's
little
just-
thing
yeah,
irritates.
dude.
You're like running low on sleep. You miss. It's just like everything's just like screw the world.
I'm like, just screw it, right? But, and I was going to hunt an extra day. I was supposed to come home on Friday anyways, but since it had rained on Thursday and we pretty much got a washout, then I didn't hunt that day. So I was like, well, I'll just stay an extra day. But I was just kind of over it. And so I get down to the tree and I'm looking for sign and I'm looking at this rub, right? And I'm like, oh, look at that nice rub. And when you get like sighted in on a rub? So I start to walk towards that rub, bro. And I swear, I got scared just as much as the snake did. There was a snake at the base of a tree sunning underneath the pine tree. That thing was as thick as a Coke can, and it's about 8 feet long, dude. This giant black snake, bro. And I'm walking, and I can hear it rustling, and it jumps up, like literally jumps, dude. And it scurries, and it goes between my legs, dude, and it shoots for the frag. And I'm like, oh my God. And at that point, I'm like, all right, dude, enough is enough.
You let out the best mew of your life.
Bro, I made the biggest noise. I'm like, all right, well, there's not a deer within 100 miles of here at this point. Like, if those guys that were building that blind, they heard me. They're like, dude, there's some little bitch over there on the land. I'm telling you.
That are
like,
Bigfoot.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. I was petrified. And at that point, I'm like, all right, there's so many snakes.
Black snakes just sitting there digesting a little sycophant.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, if you see black snakes, black racers and stuff, king snakes, they get rid of the poisonous snakes. So it's good to see them. But every time I go to Sika land, I see a giant black snake, and dude, they're scary. And the last one I watched go up a fucking tree. And when you see it go up the tree, like, because you think as a hunter, you're like, all right, if you don't like snakes, this is what you think of. You say, okay, if I get up in the tree, then I don't have to worry about the snake coming to get me. Well, in all realization, all the snakes, like copperheads, cottonmouths, they like to be in the wedges of trees. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. So
that's where I like to be too.
What the frick, dude?
I had one a couple years ago get into one of my birdhouses and eat the babies.
What was it, a black snake?
Yeah, black snake. I get big ones up on the farm, because I got all the mice in the fields.
Yeah.
The birdhouse is on a piece of 1/2-inch rebar.
Yeah.
Elevated off the ground. And that snake went right up the rebar into the birdhouse. I only noticed because the mama bird's like freaking out, going nuts, circling the birdhouse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is that? And I look over and I'm like, oh shit, giant black snake, like half in the birdhouse.
Eating all the babies?
Eating all the baby birds.
So he got it.
Yeah, so Sarah's freaking out, whatever. So I go in the house, I get the 20 gauge with turkey choke.
Oh, geez.
And by the time I came out, he's gone. The entire snake ended up in the birdhouse. He's in there, and Mama's just flying around, like, just getting pissed, Sarah's like, just shoot it. She wanted me to just, like, blow the birdhouse into pieces, and I'm like, I'm just going to wait for him to come out. So finally he comes out, he sticks his head out, and she's like, shoot. And I'm like, no, just wait. Because as soon as he sticks his head out, if I shoot him, the whole body's still inside. So I let him get, like, halfway out, come down the rebar, and I just touched it off, and the head was gone, and the body was just hanging there.
Yep, done to go.
Yeah, I don't play.
No.
People are like, oh, they're good. They eat the mice. I was like, listen, mice don't bother me.
The snakes bother me, dude. Yeah, especially down there. I mean, everything's marsh and water, so there's just everything there, dude. And it's just one of those things. I don't play around with them. But, it was a great experience, great time, great hunt.
You can go back?
Physically and mentally, probably one of the most draining hunts I've ever been on. Like, I've been in a lot of highs and lows in traveling hunting, like, because obviously, as you guys all know, I like to travel hunt and hunt public, and it's tough, man. It's not it's a game of chess, but it's a game of chess with your body and with your mind. And all hunting is, but this is just more like it's killer. So I'm actually going to end up probably going down late season. They say late season's really good. When it gets real cold, they herd up, and it's just a little bit more fun. I might even hunt some private. A guy invited me to potentially hunt with him, so I'll end up doing that, man. It's just fun, dude. It's only 6 hours away. It's a really fun hunt, but I tell you,
6 if you don't have to turn around and come back.
What?
If you don't have to turn around and come back halfway.
Dude, that was just a nightmare, bro. Like, nightmare. Like, typical me, man.
You never even used the stuff that you forgot while you're down there.
Yes, I did.
I thought you was
when we recorded Tyler Forbes,
right.
I used it. Yeah, no, of course I did. So what Steve's talking about is like, dude, just nuts. Just typical me, like typical bull crap. Like, I leave.
Scatterbrain.
dude, well, you're
You're
packing everything.
Jacked up, ready to go.
Yeah,
excited.
you're ready. Yeah, and so I like in the studio, I take all my stuff, I pile it all together, I what I need, and so I could take it, and the mobile setup hangs on the pillar in the studio. So, and I had all my stuff on the couch. Well, I grabbed everything. I put it in the truck. I went through everything. I'm like, all right, I got everything, this, that, and the other thing. So I take off. Well, I made it to Danbury, Connecticut, which is about an hour and a half from here. And I get down there, and I'm driving. I'm like, dude, I forgot the recording equipment. I'm like, shit, I need that. Like, it has the headsets, has the the recorder, has everything, but I can do it remotely, and record with everybody. So I was like,
we had Tyler already booked for while you're down
for Tuesday, right? So I said, I called up Michelle, and I was like, hey, hon, I said, can you meet me, down the road, like maybe like Cabela's or something. I said, that's about 45 minutes from me, about 35 minutes from her. I says, can you just grab my stuff and bring it over there? I said, my backpack's down. My recording backpack is down in the studio. Well, I get to Cabela's, and I'm flying to Cabela's. And I got stuck in freaking traffic because as soon as I went to call to say that I forgot my stuff, I look over and it's backed up traffic for about 5 miles. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I go and I sit in the traffic. I get through and I get up to Cabela's. So I get there and I was like, oh, thank you. I appreciate you bringing this to me. I really needed it, blah, blah, blah. And I opened the back door, dude, and my heart just sunk. She grabbed the wrong backpack. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, dude. Like, come on. Like, what is the chances that she forgot? Like, or grabbed the wrong one.
You forgot. She didn't forget nothing.
So I close the door and I says, I'll see you at home. So I just race back home. I get here. I grab what I needed to grab, and I turned around. So it took what would be an extra 3 hours, bro, on top of my trip. So what was 7 hours is now 12 hours. And you're like, fuck, dude, this sucks. I left at 10 o'clock in the morning, dude. And I was back home at 1:30 in the afternoon. Like, you got to be kidding me, dude. I didn't make it anywhere. This is just whatever. So, like, I mean, that's how the trip had ended up starting. But it is what it is. I mean, that's part of the, Trev's bloopers, dude. I do stuff like that all the time, man. It's just like, but it's so irritating because you're like, why? And I bet you it happens to more people than none, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Forget everything.
Just all kinds of little things that nobody
releases
admits. Yeah.
And I mean, dude, I've walked miles into the woods, and
you forgot your boots the other day. That's why you hunted out of your hay dudes.
Yeah, dude. Well, yeah, I did. Well,
we were all jammed up. We'll get into that in a little while.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you like that again. You hunt out of your truck when you go in somebody else's truck. You know all your stuff. You have your routine.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of the. It is what it is. So one time I ended up hiking about a mile and a half into some public land. Get up in the tree and realize that I forgot my release. What do? Bro, I sat there and I just hunted. I had a good buck come underneath me that time too. Yeah, it came right by me. There's nothing I could do. I mean, I could have shot it with fingers, but it's not worth it.
Hey, you know what I was thinking though when you go back to Maryland? What if we rig up the e-bike with like outriggers or something? And some like we'll put like water, what do they call those, pool noodles on it?
Yeah.
And let you so you can e-bike out into the marsh.
No, I wish it was like that, bro. The crazy thing is, like, you hear Argos everywhere, bro. Everywhere.
On the private side?
Yeah, on the privates, yeah. Yep. Yeah, they all use Argos.
I remember
Sean's hard ground too.
Sean sent me a Snapchat when I think you guys were scouting like midday, and you looked freaking miserable.
Yeah, dude, because the thing is this, like, when Sean's scouting, like, he'll look at a map, he'll be like, yo, there's an opening right there. We got to go check that opening out. And I'm like, bro, it's fucking mile and a half away. Yeah, no, we got to go there. So we get out, like, one day, and we're going to go check this place. But it's through the frag. It's like 10-foot frag. No trails at all. And we just fucking go through the frag. And we get there, and it's useless. And you're like, oh, well, that was great. That was a great walk to find out that it was useless, that there was nothing to it. You couldn't hunt anywhere near it. And then we had another one. He had gotten this lead on a pin and some pins of this really good spot. It was like the guy had hunted some private, and around it's a bunch of public. Well, his buddy screwed him over, so he sent Sean some pins to go like hunt the public around his private. So we drive an hour and a half south to another place. We get down there. We pull off on the side of the road. Sean says, we got to make it to here. Bro, it was straight hell. Straight hell. Dude, it was like needle grass with big, deep holes in it. And I wasn't even 10 feet off the side of the road, bro, and I had already swamped my hip boots. Fell into this ditch. Now my shit's full of water. We got like a mile and a half to go back in this frag. Finally, we get halfway back, and Sean's like, dude, we're not even halfway there. He goes, this is absolutely miserable, dude. It's not even... He's like, dude, we're going to turn around and go back. I says, we literally just drove an hour and a half for what?
Is this a morning going in the dark
No,
or going in the afternoon?
This is afternoon, just scouting,
okay.
scouting, not even hunting. So then we have to get out, and I'm like, well, now what do I do, dude? We're living out of our trucks.
Yeah.
I don't have a boot warmer.
A dryer, machine,
washer, nothing. And now my hip boots are swamped water, soaking wet. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not going to hunt the next day in wet-ass boots.
Yeah.
So we end up going to Dick's Sporting Goods. They had a boot warmer for like $30 or brand new boots for $55. So I just bought brand new boots, dude. I was like, I'm not... What's to say that my boots are actually going to be dry or whatever the case. And that's one thing you have to take into consideration is a lot of the times, man, we're staying in Walmarts. We're staying in commuter lots just because it's cheaper, man. Like, for us to go and spend, it'd be like $1,000 for a week plus to stay in a hotel somewhere.
Yeah, just the hotel.
Just a hotel.
Yeah.
So you're into it for $1,000.
That's not including fuel, tags, all that other stuff.
So, like, when I go on a trip, like this trip probably cost me, we'll call it $1,000, $750 to $1,000.
Round trip, everything.
That's fuel, tags,
food,
eating like a king, breakfast. You go out to breakfast. You can grab lunch if you want, and then I cook dinner on at the tailgate. And you just you're always grabbing candy and but you're not worried about it. You know what I'm saying? So you're into it for $1,000. That hunt's $1,000, which would be what it would be for a room as $1,000. You know what I'm saying?
It would have been probably $2,000.
$2,000 if we got a room. So everyone called me crazy, but it's not that bad. It's actually kind of fun. I enjoy it. I think I'm going to end up building my rig to build something really nice to be able to do.
That was one of the main reasons I talked you into getting that longer bed.
Yeah. So I was down. I stopped on my way down, I dropped off some taxidermy because Dan Smeltz had won the Ducks on the Bay hunt with me.
Yep.
And they had mounted, him and Dennis had mounted up. Dennis mounted up a surf scoter, and Dan had mounted up a longtail. And so I dropped him off on my way down. Well, he was rigging up he's got an F-150 with a cap on it, and he rigged it up. He got that deck system.
Which is weird because we were just talking about the deck like the day before that.
And, dude, it was sick, bro. All of his hunting gear, everything in there, no problems. They have tackle boxes, the big boxes that come out, and they were portable out of the deck. Dude, insane.
It's quality shit too,
dude.
Because I've seen it on, I drool over it all the time on
waterproof
online,
too,
but I've never seen it in person.
Waterproof, everything, dude. It's absolutely insane. And then he had his cap. It's just nuts. But my only thing is, if I was to do something like that, right? It's your cooler has to still go in the back, but you have your bedding and stuff in there.
You can put a roof rack on top of the cap.
Yeah, I guess that's what he did, is a roof rack on the cap.
Put your cooler up there.
Yeah, I guess. Or you just put the cooler in there, and then when you get to wherever you're going, you take it out or whatever, I guess. And the other thing,
around with it.
Yeah, there's a couple of cool things that he was doing. I was like, dude, that's sweet mods. And for me, it would be really badass because I go everywhere. I don't know, even up north, I don't know, but I'd still bring my stuff. I don't know. I think it would definitely be kind of cool and definitely work out. And it just saves you a lot of money, man. It just does. I'm leaving for Ohio here tomorrow, actually.
Must be nice.
And yeah, must be nice. Tomorrow. So this is gonna release on Thursday. I'm leaving on Friday or Saturday, and it was the same thing, dude. It was gonna cost me $1,000 in hotel rooms, and I said to my boy, I said, my buddy Steve that I'm going with, so many Steves.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, so he wants to drag down his camper, and we're just gonna stay at Walmart parking lots. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's just gonna be something fun. One of the things that scare me, though, honestly, and I was texting back and forth with Keith, our good buddy Keith Chirac, about the EHD, dude.
Yeah, Southern Ohio.
Southern Ohio, like that area that we hunt down there is like that. Unfortunately, I found 3 by water on 3 different separate properties. Several other hunters I know have found deer as well, hoping this cold weather stops. Frost stops it. So
Yeah.
they're having problems. The dude from what's the guy from Whitetail Edge? What's his name? He had 2 big deer that he had found EHD wise.
You know who's really struggling this year? I believe it's because of EHD is Jake Bush. I don't know if you've been following him along.
Yeah.
But Jake is he's like a week 1 killer, opening night, first
Early
couple days of
killer.
the season, and he's really getting his ass kicked this year. And I don't know how to say this. I don't mean to sound bad, but I'm actually enjoying it a little bit. Like I'm rooting for him to get it done, but like it's really fun to watch him change and more. Like he's scouting. Like, oh, this deer, I found this deer dead, and he's like really grinding it out now. Where
he's finding those target deer dead.
Not all. He's not necessarily target deer, but he's losing them. Like they disappeared on him. Maybe they're dead from EHD or whatnot. And like I said, it's not like enjoying seeing him struggle, but like for somebody who always gets it done quick, now he's grinding,
and you're learning more by that way.
You're rooting for him because you want to see him get it done, but you're watching like how he's adapting to still get it done against the odds. You know,
right. Yeah, that's crazy because I mean, like that shit's no joke, bro.
No,
we've never had to really deal with that. I mean,
knock on wood, man.
The Connecticut River Valley, we've had a couple of different kills in a couple of different towns, but nothing obscene. So it's, I don't know, dude. And it's kind of got me thinking as far as Ohio goes, like, do I go to the normal northeast section or do I go to the more central, the other areas that I hunt, because of that kill is very high. Me and Jake Bush hunt the same areas. And he's seeing it.
But I thought
our other buddy Keith.
I thought Jake was Southern Ohio.
Yeah, but he hunts Eastern Ohio.
Goes everywhere.
He goes everywhere.
Yeah.
But so he hunts a lot of those areas. Keith is from that area.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people. The guy from Whitetail Edge is from the same area,
right.
that Coshocton County area, where there's a lot of EHD kills.
Right.
And so do I make the run to go and hunt that area, or do I try to move to a different piece of public? Because put it like this, if I'm going to go and hunt another piece of public, it's no different than me going to an area that just got hit real hard with EHD. The struggles is still going to be relatively the same. So do you make the call to go somewhere else that has a little bit more deer? I don't know, dude. That's got the toss up for me at this point. And I was talking to Kevin Tatro about the same thing, and like, how he's heard about the what?
No, you're good.
Oh, he's worrying about the same thing when he goes the 1st of November, if that's what's going to happen or not. So I don't know. It's definitely
really
it's a scary thing, dude. To be honest with you,
roll the dice, I guess. Or you got to reach out to somebody in the area and try to get some local knowledge.
And that's what I was saying. That's what I had just read from Keith was the same thing. Like they found 3 different deer on 3 different properties. Like I don't know. It scares me. It definitely scares me because like you could go out there and. I mean, it's not going to kill all the deer, but it's definitely going to make your odds less, It's,
don't bring it back here.
No, I know.
Wash your boots.
Well, I guess it's that mite, and it's a lot of it has to do with the moisture and the warm air. So hopefully with this frost is going to kill a lot of that stuff off.
Yeah, but what sucks about that, like you want the frost to kill it off so it stops.
Yeah.
But
those deer are already dead.
They're already dead. Yeah, they're not just going to pop out of the ground again.
Yeah.
But you'll get it done. If not, maybe you'll find one dead. You can take a picture of that and say you shot it.
Well, I don't care. I'll go. It's like shed hunting in the fall.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I don't care. I'll run all the walkways. Dude, imagine the giants that you could find if you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Put miles.
Cody was just out in Kansas a couple of weeks ago, and he found I think 3 or 4 deadheads, and some of them were pretty freaking big.
EHD wise.
That's EHD, CWD.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference between them all.
Yeah, well,
probably should. But
the thing is, It's just nuts, dude. And most of the time it affects bucks more than it does does.
It does seem to do that, yeah.
You hear a lot of stories with more bucks than does. But it's I don't know. It's just absolutely nuts. Oh, we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It is what it is. Dude, we had some fun the other day, though.
Oh, my God. I had a blast.
Really?
I had an absolute blast.
It was different. It was fun. I get to do a lot of double sets. So I get to hunt with a lot of different people and hunt double sets and stuff like that. And I started when I hunted up in New York. Bow and bridle was kind of where I learned how to do it. And double setting off, like you take a ladder stand and then you set the platform.
Like a lock on, right?
Yeah, and then you set a platform off the back of it. Or they do a lot of guide sets, double setting and stuff. So that's where I kind of got my feet wet with it. And I enjoy it, dude. I love being in the tree with somebody else. It's a different type of camaraderie. Like when you had set up, you were a little bit higher. But if you come down just a little bit, we could have talked the whole entire time,
Right.
It gets fun, dude. It's definitely fun. It drives a little bit more adrenaline to it, I guess. Because you're like, oh, dude, I got my buddy with me. If I fuck it up, he's gonna see it too. So it's like, it's definitely a lot, and especially for the guy, too, camera guy. Like if you're not on it or whatever. I mean, thankfully we practiced with a doe and not a big shooter buck. Like, could you imagine?
Yeah, I had fun because the whole thing was just kind of a funny shit show. Like nothing major, but like I had just gotten a package from Huntworth that day. So I busted out the new Hickory backpack. So I'm like, oh, I got my new backpack. I got to use it tonight. Like, right. So that was a mistake because I'm so meticulous about where all my gear is in my pack. So why would I just all of a sudden just jam everything in a brand new backpack to go hunting?
Right.
So I'm like, I didn't forget anything, but I felt like I forgot something or like I couldn't find stuff because I couldn't remember what pocket I put it in because I just got the pack like hours before. You forgot your boots because we took my truck and your boots were in your truck.
Right.
And then just little stuff. Like I remember walking up the trail and I had, they're my Shikars and your EDP platform on the backpack. And normally I carry my sticks vertical. And you put them on my back horizontal. And next thing you know, my stick gets stuck on like a branch. And I'm all hung up. Trev's laughing at me. I'm like, what the hell? It wasn't nothing major that's going to ruin the hunt. But we're just laughing. Like we're normally like you take a hunt like so serious that everything's got to be perfect. And like it was just one of those hunts where it was just like, whatever. Like we're just,
we're going hunting.
Yeah, just for fun, So that was cool.
No, it definitely was. It was a good time. It really was. So we got double set up. You had already hung up the stand. That was another thing. You had set up the stand, and you're a stander, so you didn't even sit in the stand. And
I hunted that property in the morning, mobile. I packed my stand in sticks. I hung a tree. I hunted, I think, till like 9 that morning. I knew we were going to hunt that property that evening, but I didn't want to sit the same spot. So I tore down, moved 100 yards, rehung the stand. I never even stepped on the platform. I hung 4 sticks, hung the stand. It's a Novix Hilo. Hung the stand, nice and secure, rock solid. And I got out of there. I never actually stepped up on the platform. So apparently, I don't know. What would you say? The platform was level, but the seat wasn't, or something like that?
No, the whole thing. Well, it was yes, exactly. So the platform was level, but the seat wasn't. So you sit on it, and you would just shoot forward, and you're like, "What the?"
I never sit. My seat's flipped up the whole time, so I would have noticed. But I don't know. Next time you can hang your own stand.
Yeah, I guess so. But it was
and
just
then
like
the other thing too is so the stand's 4 sticks high. The bottom stick was a little higher with 1/8er. And then this is the first time I've done a double set. So I climbed up first. When I got to the stand, I hung 2 Shikars and then Trev's EDP. And I got up on the EDP and I look at Trev, I'm like, dude, this is the highest I've ever been in my life. I mean, not the highest I've ever been, but in a tree, you know what I mean?
right.
So, and Trev's like, oh, that's normal. I'm like, dude, I'm in the nosebleed section. Like, this is ridiculous. So, whatever, it was good.
So if you were on a Facebook group, what would you how high would you say that you were?
Facebook group.
Yeah, like the guys on Facebook. I was hunting 45 feet.
Oh, yeah. So, honest to God, in the Facebook, the 30-footers, I swear to God, I was 35 feet. I not even exaggerate. I'm like, dude, this has to be 35 feet. So, you got to remember, I'm not a bullshitter. I hunt about 18 feet. Normal. I'm fine with 18 feet. I kill so many deer out of a standard ladder stand. Like, I'm comfortable there. I don't feel like I'm too low. Like, that's just where I hunt. So when I'm up 4 sticks, a stand, 2 sticks, and a platform, I'm like, dude, this is like 35 feet. Like, this is ridiculous. So I'm thinking about it. And I wasn't like uncomfortable. I was fine. Like, I was safe. You know, I was in the saddle. I was tethered off and everything. But I'm like, I got to know how high I am. So I shot the ground with my rangefinder, and it was like 8.6 feet or yards or something like that. So I did the math, and I'm like, it's like 26 feet. I'm like, bullshit. This rangefinder's off.
Yeah.
But like, oh, man, it's a different world when you get up there.
See, that's how I hunt all the time. 25, 23, 24. Like we were talking about it. Like, so my rope is 25 feet. So it's 25 feet to my waist.
Right.
Every single time I hunt.
Yeah,
25
you had
feet.
said you've ranged the ground before, and it's usually about 8 yards.
8 yards.
Yeah, and I was 8.6 yards,
Yeah.
but still, like, that's way higher than I need to be.
It's so much fun.
Different shot angles, all kinds of stuff.
You know what? There it is. There's my excuse.
You had an easier shot.
We're low.
Yeah.
I'm not used to it. No, I'm compensating. So if I come up here and I shoot there.
Oh, you're compensating for something, all right. But the whole thing was just fun, though. So like, we went in to, it was one of my private spots, and I told Trev, I was like, I just started videoing. So I have a video camera now and a camera arm, and obviously I don't have a lot of experience with it. So I told Trev, I said, why don't you come over, you shoot, I'll film, shoot whatever you want. Right. I don't care if it's a button buck, spike buck, doe, whatever. You open to you. You shoot whatever you want. So we're sitting there, and finally a doe shows up, and I get freaking jacked, man. And I don't usually get excited just for a doe at all. I mean, like, what, last week I was spitting on a doe's back because she was underneath me.
Exactly.
You know? But here comes this doe, man, and I'm like, my hands start shaking. I'm like, oh shit, it's game time. Like, we're gonna kill a doe, and I gotta video it. And now I'm getting all paranoid because when you're in a saddle and you're self-filming, your camera arm's like knee height, would you say?
Yeah. About
knee height. And then that way, because I did have my bow, just in case, you got to be able to shoot over the camera arm.
Correct.
So it's you have the camera arm attached to the tree in front of you because you're facing the tree, and it's about knee height. So I swing the camera over, and I'm filming this doe come in. Well, how big is the LCD screen on the camera? Like,
it's tiny,
3x2x3. It's
smaller than a cell
smaller
phone.
than my cell phone. Yeah, and it's 2-3 feet away because it's at knee height. So I'm like trying to figure out if I actually even have the doe in the footage, and I'm like zooming out. All right, there she is. Zoom in and trying to stay on her and stuff, and she's like kind of coming through the cedars, and I'm like in my head, I'm like, don't mess up. Like, this is gonna be terrible. Like, if he shoots this deer and I miss it, or I'm not in focus or out of frame, like, I'm gonna feel so bad. Like, I didn't want to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I like just felt this pressure to just like get it right, you know. And I'm like following it, and like I'm like, you would have thought it was like a freaking booner or something. I was like, so like I had buck fever from this thing, trying to get it on film. You know what I mean? And then well, you can tell the rest.
No, it's not that important. It's really not.
It really isn't.
I think you tell it so much better. I really do. No, it's so the doe had come in and was starting to go from our right to left, and had from what Steve had said was that it was going to come from left to right. They were going to come up over the knoll and come down. So we're both kind of looking that direction, and I hear a twig snap, and I'm like, I tap Steve's boot. Hey, there's one right there. He's like, come on. Yeah, so it was like 31 yards, and it was going from right to left. And hindsight, I probably should have shot it at the 30-yard mark when it was right there, quartering to us. But I was like, no, it's going to go back. And then at some points of it, I'm like, dude, this thing is not going to come into range. Like, literally not going to come to, like, it was just going to go back to where it was, like, and then take off. So then it starts to come up kind of like this cut trail. after about 20 minutes, dude. And it starts to come up. So I'm like ranging holes and this, that, and the other, changing dials. All right, he might go there, ranging, da-da-da-da. And so finally this thing comes out and Steve's filming it. I can see him filming it.
It's funny, too. You hear about it all the time, especially like watching hunting shows on YouTube or whatever, how the camera angle and the shooting angle is different.
Yeah.
You know? Even if you're self-filming and your camera's a foot away. Well, in this situation, like I'm 2 sticks higher. I only needed to be 1 stick higher, and I was 2 sticks higher. So the lens of the camera to your bow sight's probably, 6-7 feet difference? Yeah. And then my head's another 3 feet above the camera. So, like, what I'm seeing and what you're seeing is, like, completely different.
Well, when she was behind the cedar, all you could see is the ass end of her.
The tail flip.
And I could have shot her.
Right.
But I had a feeling that you're not going to be able to see her from that angle. So I was like, all right, let me wait until she comes in the complete open. And thankfully we didn't. And then she went into the complete open. But the problem was her leg was closed. So she closed the gap. And I needed there was still kind of like a tree there. So she was in front of it. So then she stepped out. She was at 22 yards. I had my 20-yard pin. I put it in the center of her shoulder, I thought. And I shot, and I missed. So I went over the top of her. She ducked, but not
even that
lot.
was a crazy angle because there was, I'm assuming it was beech. Out of my memory, it was some kind of leaf branch. I think it was beech. I think it was beech. From where I was, I could see this deer clear as day. Like if I was shooting, I had a clear shot over the top of the branch. It was a pretty big branch, but Trev was so much lower than me. His shot was actually under the same branch.
Right.
That's how much difference in elevation I was from you.
So you're just looking for that hole to get it. And I mean, you could have moved around anywhere, but so I don't know if I punched it, if I pulled it, what I did, but I ended up missing. So now at this point, I have 2 misses in 2 days. And I'm just like blown away. And after the Sika, I had missed a Sika. I came home, I shot it because you were like, dude, shoot your bow. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, just for peace of mind.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be sitting in the stand the next day wondering, did I make a bad shot? You traveled with your bow.
Right.
Like, you could have got bumped, all that, dragging around the swamp and the marsh and going up and down, hanging stands and all that stuff. Like, you could have your bow could have been off.
Crazy. And I 12 ringed it when I came home.
Bow was dead on.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. I mean, these things happen, man.
So much.
It's.
If anyone tells you it doesn't happen to them,
my dad used to tell me all the time.
Bullshit.
My dad would say
bullshit.
If they tell you that they don't miss, they're liars.
Or they ain't hunted enough.
Yeah, they ain't hunted enough. Because it definitely happens. And I always say, I don't miss. I don't miss. I normally don't, but it happens, man. It's inevitable.
Friday night, I got a phone call. Friend of a friend of a friend. I was out tracking a deer in the pouring rain through a swamp. I think it was a 30-yard shot with a crossbow. We never found the deer. They didn't know, I asked all the questions and I didn't really, no, whatever. It is what it is, but it's so common. Like, it seems like sometimes this time of year you get more phone calls from friends that have misses or not recovering something than you actually have recovered deer sometimes,
Yeah, it was funny as we were chit-chatting back and forth, or I was with Tatro about the EHD thing, and I was telling him, he's like, how
this is while we were on stand?
No. Oh. This was today actually before we press record here, and he was saying he was asking how the Sika hunt was, and I was like, oh dude, I missed. He's like, it happens to everybody, and I was like, yeah, everyone can keep that because I want nothing to do with it,
right?
Because it sucks.
Yeah,
and he goes, yeah, I know one guy that shot and wounded and lost 5 or 6 deer last season, and it's like.
Yeah,
that's where I kind of draw a line where like, bro, you just hang it up.
I would have drawn the line way before you got to 5.
Yeah. 2, 1.
There's just so many things. It's different for everybody. But
if the deer's on edge, or these things happen.
I don't think guys shoot their bow enough in the summer. They take it for granted.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, he was using a crossbow.
Well, I won't even talk about him. But all right, so you got a crossbow. Are you shooting your crossbow?
No,
because that's the biggest thing with crossbow guys. They sight it, they dial it in. They don't practice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's general statement. I don't care who you are. No one's going to argue that statement. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's in the backyard with the crossbow just slinging arrows all night. Like,
Right.
like somebody with a compound or a trad bow or something. But, like, I see it all the time. Guys don't shoot their bow. They sight in.
Right.
They establish a pin. Oh, 20's good. 30's good. Yep, I'm good. Screw some broadheads on. Check it. Maybe. Some guys don't even check their broadheads.
No.
They just... Field point's good. They screw on a broadhead and off to the woods they go. But, like, you got to check those broadheads because, I mean, I struggle with this. And I'm knock tuning arrows. I'm bear shaft tuning arrows. My bow's tuned by the best guy in the state. Like, it's not my bow. It's not my arrows. And I throw I shoot a pretty big broadhead. But they could be 3-4 inches off from my field points. And when that happens, I adjust my sight. So now my broadheads are on and my field points are off because now I don't care what field points do now. Like
I'm hunting.
My broadhead's got to be
Season.
dead on. But yeah, guys don't shoot enough. They don't practice enough.
Nope.
And here's what happens. Everybody shoots tight groups in the backyard. You know what I mean? Like, oh, honey, look at me. Look at this group. I'm next Robin Hood or whatever.
Put fur on it.
All that shit goes out the window when you're shaking like a leaf and a deer shows up. It doesn't have to be a big buck. You know what I mean? Like I said, some people get buck fever from a doe. Forget your form. You know what I mean? Like if you can practice all summer long and be really efficient with your bow, and you could. I didn't make a great shot with ET, and I shoot a lot.
Right.
If I didn't shoot as much as I shot, I might have missed ET, or I might have wounded him. And the margin for error is so small. You got to be out there practicing with the bow.
And the thing is, like, we all shoot a ton.
Right.
We
and
practice a ton.
And it still happens.
We shoot 3D in the off season. We shoot, constantly shooting, practicing. I didn't feel comfortable with the sight tape that I had because we had gone to bear camp. Before bear camp, I had tuned my bow, but I had a twist in the string. So they had to fix the peep sight. So I brought it to the bow shop. They twisted it. I shot it in there. My 20 was good. He said it should be on. Got up to bear camp. I shot 20, 30, 40, 50, and the sight tape was off. So my 20 was actually 23. My 30 was 33 or 34. So I didn't feel confident with it, but I knew it. So I just hunted. I hunted it up there, and I was just like, I'm not going to make anything longer than a 25-yard shot, which thankfully you don't have to when you're hunting the barrel. So I came home, and I just resighted my bow in. Literally, dude, resighted my bow in with new tape.
Now, was
So I
it
knew
the
it
same?
was
Was
synced.
it the same tape? Did you change
Nope,
tapes?
changed tapes.
Oh, you changed tapes too, yeah.
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 And it is what it is. But you have to, those are your due diligence. That's your job, in my opinion. That's what you have to do to make this. You owe it to that animal, dude. It's a respect factor to that animal, in my opinion.
Right.
Where, like we had an instance where somebody in a group that we're in was saying how they were going to shoot 50 yards. And he's like, well, my sight tape goes to 120. And I go, yeah, my speedometer goes to 150. Doesn't mean we're going to do it. You owe that respect to that animal to shoot a ethical, clean, fast kill. You owe it to that animal. And to wound an animal or to not be on target and mess it up, you owe it to that animal, man. Like, be proficient with your weapon, shoot your weapon, and kill the animal respectfully, man. Don't just be flinging arrows everywhere.
Right. I can tell you this. In my backyard, field points in the summer, I'll shoot 80 yards all day. Mm-hmm. No problem. I'll sling them at 100. I like shooting 60 to 80 yards. This is where I have a lot of fun.
It's just fun.
It's fun. When it comes time to hunting with a broadhead at a live animal, I'd love to tell you I'd shoot out the 40 and I'd be lying. Like, honest to God, I don't want anything to do with anything past 30.
Right.
Maybe 35.
No.
If it was perfect situation, standing there, like not, just dead calm. But 30 yards is my max. And
I don't
this
even
is
like
coming
that.
from someone who shoots 80 yards all summer
I don't
long.
even like that, though.
No.
Not in our woods.
No. That's what I'm saying. That's my absolute longest shot.
As you go to, it's like the Midwest. A lot of those Midwestern guys in fields and stuff, they shoot a lot further than that.
Right.
But there's not the variables that we have
Yeah.
here. When you're out west, those guys shoot 80, 100 yards shooting at bigger animals.
Yeah.
But the thing is that
Bigger
there's
animals
less,
have bigger vitals too.
yeah, but less variables. There's no trees, no sticks, no twigs, no nothing like that. But
the other thing that happens too, though, is like the anticipation of like, you might hunt 2, 3, 4, 5 times, not see anything, or nothing comes with even close to bow range, and you're getting frustrated, and you're getting tired, and you're run down from getting up early, trying to get it done, nothing. Then finally, there's a deer at 20 yards, chip shot, and you're so jacked up and this excited to finally get the opportunity. You rush the shot, or you just punch the trigger, and the shot,
dude,
it's gone.
I mean, look, it just happened to me 2 times,
Right?
And I've killed a lot of animals with my bow and arrow, and good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Very confident with my bow and arrow. Very confident. And these things happen, man. This is part of it. This is the game. This is what keeps me coming back. I'm just thankful. I'm very thankful that I didn't piss tag any animals. That I did not wound any animals. That it was a clean miss. We go on with our day. We learn from it, and we just strive on. My thing is, I'm nervous, dude. I'm about to leave for Ohio, dude, into the land of the giants, the place where I love to hunt every single year during this time of year, this pre-rut, and I'm nervous. I haven't killed an animal this season.
Yeah, but you got your miss out of the way.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So people don't know that, right? And Caddy Cowboy probably called me out on it and this, that, and the other thing. But in my early 20s, every single year, me being a high-strung, jacked-up dude, I would clean miss the first thing I would pull out. So what I started doing was the first animal that I saw every single season, I'd shoot at it so I missed it.
To get your miss out of the way.
Just get it out of the way.
Because
just be done with it.
Because I said that to you after you missed Saturday.
Yeah.
Because it was your second miss. And I was like, maybe you miss the first shot at each species.
Dude, it hasn't happened in like 8 years, bro. Normally on fire. But hey, listen, all good things come to an end, man. And it is what it is. And I'll take it for what it is. I don't mind. I don't mind the fact at all. I think, I'm going to try and hunt here probably Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning. I'll hunt a couple of days and hopefully shoot something. I don't know. Maybe not. And then just go out there. Hopefully that a 180 doesn't step out and I miss his ass too. But if it is what it is. I'll take it the year and misses, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it was a good thing it was just the doe because we were laughing.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but
that's part of it,
it
dude.
is part. Yeah,
it's absolutely part of it.
I was just glad I wasn't the one that screwed it up. I was glad it was you.
Yeah. We'll see what the season brings, man. I'm happy with it. It is what it is. If you guys want to watch the video, we actually have it over on our YouTube page, over at the Outdoor Drive Podcast on YouTube. So you guys can actually watch the full video. We made the whole edit, even though it was a miss, but still cool little hunt. You can check it out.
Yeah.
Something a little bit fun. We wanted to keep up with kind of everything that was going on. The footage from Sika hunting was not that great. Because you can't see a lot of the animals. They come and go throughout. So I'll make shorts and we'll make reels on Instagram and all that stuff and kind of share that about. But I wish I could do a full hunt, but maybe when I go down here in the late winter, I'll do a full hunt after I kill one. But
you know what I liked about that YouTube video though? It's open. It's the real deal.
It's raw.
Like you're not afraid to show that you missed a deer because so many people do it. And, you're human just like everybody else. Like, people need to see all sides of it and not just the good stuff all the time like you're perfect.
My thing about all of this, like podcasting, videoing, pictures, like everything that I do every single day, whether it's fishing, hunting, or whatever, and I'm not afraid to share it because I just hope that somebody can learn from it. If one person can learn from something of my mistake and then be successful, then it was successful to me. You know what I'm saying? And then it was good that I was able to help somebody in showing them the things that could potentially happen. So That's why I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to show what I miss, or I mess up, or I do something wrong, or I forget my boots, or whatever the case may be. That ain't the first time that I've hunted in my shoes. I forgot, dude.
Oh,
It was
yeah, I remember.
a couple years ago. I was hunting in my Nikes.
Yep.
I forgot my boots, and I was hunting in my Nikes.
In
And
a swamp too, I think.
yeah, and it was, the other thing is, in a swamp, and it had snowed. It was freezing cold out. So I took my Nikes, and I actually had like shopping bags in my car, and I put them inside my boots so that my shoes, so they were semi-waterproof. So when I was hunting, and hopefully an extra layer.
Some bread bags.
Yeah, dude, whatever, man. And just, I don't know, just stupid stuff like that. But it makes it fun, dude.
Yeah.
It just makes it fun.
One thing,
that's what we're here for.
Before we get too far past it, one thing, because there was a time when I struggled with some shots on some deer, and it's almost always high. Like in my backyard on a target, if I make a subpar shot, it's usually low, but on animals, it's usually high. Like probably.
Do you think you're pulling away from your bow?
Well,
that's what I was trying
somebody, Cody actually had mentioned to me that he thinks that you actually add poundage to your bow because as you pull through or something, I don't know, but I don't know the science behind that. But there's so many factors. But if you break down all the factors of what can go wrong with the shot,
Yeah.
most of them lead to being high. A lot of deer jump the string, so they duck.
Yeah.
That leads to a high shot. What helped me, I don't know if it'll help everybody, but this is what helped me. What I figured out that I was doing was, the deer was coming in. I get the full draw. I swing the pin over. I see the shoulder. As soon as that pin gets behind the shoulder, boom. It's a shot. Like, you don't even remember pulling. It's just.
Well, that's the thing, is I couldn't tell you where that pin is.
The pin never settled. It was there, but it never settled. And I had already shot it. And I'm telling you, I did it 2 or 3 times.
Right.
Where I'm like, what were you doing? The deer was just standing there. You had
all the day,
all the time in the world. Why did I touch it off that fast? So it pissed me off, and I worked on it that year all winter long. I was down at Center Sports once a week, shooting 2-3 hours a night on a Thursday night, just shooting 5-spot, just working on, settling the pin. And since then, what I've been doing is, one, I'm not trying to heart punch anything, but I like putting the pin on the heart. And the reason why is, if you put it on the heart and the deer doesn't move, you're good. You're heart punching it. The deer's gonna drop a little bit and you're double lunging it. But if you try to double lung and that deer drops, you're no man's land or over the back or whatever. You know what I mean? But what I really started doing was I'd force myself to settle the pin in there. So like, you almost want to like come up with like a last second thought to basically to force some kind of pause. So once the pin's on there, like I either tell myself like, bury it, just to make sure I bury that pin down there, or settle the pin in, and just take like it's what is it, an extra half a second or a second to just and squeeze it off,
right?
Instead of just fur and punch it. You know what I mean? Because it happens.
The thing with me, and I like a lot of times I don't even know what I did. I probably do the same exact thing, but like your body takes over.
Yeah, you black out.
You literally black out.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we were saying before about shooting as much as you can in the summertime, because I don't really believe in muscle memory, because muscles don't have memory. But if you shoot, when, like you said, it just takes over.
Yeah.
You're just automatic. If you're not shooting a lot, what you revert back, what's the saying, like under pressure you revert back to training.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have training,
there's nothing to revert
and shit
to.
hits the fan, and all of a sudden it might be a buck of a lifetime, and you're shitting your pants, and your form goes out the window, like, and you just turn into a hack. But if you shoot a lot,
yep,
when under pressure situation, hopefully you shot enough that it just goes into autopilot and you make the shot, because you're not going to remember it. It's a blur in your imagination of what just happened. You know what I mean?
It's a funny, crazy thing, dude, and we've all done it, and we just move on from it. But you gotta recognize it. If you don't recognize it, you can't correct it, I guess, is more or less what it comes down to.
Yeah,
I don't know,
and you can't beat yourself up over it either, because if you dwell on that all season long, you're just going to kick rocks all season long. You know what I mean? You just got to get back in the saddle and, overcome it.
Yep, and just keep on moving. Well, guys, we hope that you all have short blood trails here as the season progresses. The rut's almost here. Things are looking up. For all of you guys, once again, man, get on the group page, the Outdoor Drive on Facebook. Find us over there. Come and hang out with us. We'd love to have us.
Share your kills.
Definitely share your kills with us.
Anything, rabbits, pheasant, it doesn't matter.
You guys subscribe to us on YouTube. Check us out on all the podcast things. 5-star review on iTunes. You know the drill. I don't need to go over it. But everybody, thanks for joining us, and everybody else, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.